had your real estate license, and you had your security license, and you had your mortgage license. How much money you can make per transaction? $400,000 house, okay? So you get the commission on selling the house to the real estate agent. You do the $400,000 mortgage. They're selling their old house for $400,000. You invest the $400,000. So you did 3 transactions.
Wow.
And you made all that money off 3 transactions. Let's talk about the market and the economy and stuff. But every July 1st through September 30th is the third quarter of every year is the worst quarter of every year. It's always very volatile this third quarter. Because what's going to happen is they're going to get the September 30 statement, and they're going to be way down from where they were June 30. I've learned over the years, I pre-sell them on the idea that they're not going to make money
in the third quarter, so they don't all panic and...
Yeah, because I've done it where I did not tell them that.
And that's when your phone rings off.
My phone rings just getting blown up. The fourth quarter is generally the best quarter of the year.
Recoup quarter.
So we have to go through this rug patch. But once we get to this rug patch, and then being an election year too, it means the market should be up quite a bit last quarter. That's why I have a large amount of money, my clients' money in the floating rate fund, sitting on the sidelines. So when it does bottom out, and we'll take some of that money that's the floating rate and put it back in some of that equity fund. I have the CNBC app. You can do Bloomberg's got a good app.
Okay, Bloomberg.
They're a good financial app. So any of those. Morningstar, I have Morningstar app on my phone.
Okay.
The average fluctuation of the market is 0.72%.
A majority of the stuff that's going on, once a certain trend hits, it'll get worse because the computer will pick up on it and start doing buying or selling based on what's going on.
Yeah. I have hardly any international floating.
South American countries are sometimes good emerging market countries, and they produce tin, copper, things like that over there, because they have less EPA stress. They don't have any EPA. So they can produce things there cheaper than they can here in the United States.
Okay.
So sometimes if you think commodities are going to do well, you can start buying in emerging markets, stocks.
I had my Invesco shirt on. And the guy went, Invesco QQQ. I need to get some of that. Right, so it came out. I'm glad they didn't ask me anything about it. Because I don't know anything about it.
Invesco QQQ.
Can you explain what that is?
It's an ETF.
ETF.
Exchange traded fund. It's one of the top performing ETFs on the market. In fact, I think it has the most money in it than any other ETF on the market. If I'm not mistaken.
What the Eastern Portland?
It's electronically traded
Electronic trade fund.
ETF.
Okay.
We have ETFs in our managed accounts. We, as a matter of fact, a lot of the Invesco portfolios we offer will have some of the QQQ investments in them.
ETFs claim that they claim to fame is there's no sales charges and stuff. There's no sales charge.
And they trade like a true stock, and that the price changes all day long. Where the mutual fund only changes at the closing price, which is at 4 o'clock. So mutual fund doesn't trade up and down all day long, but an ETF does. And you can short an ETF like you could a stock. You can do a lot of things with an ETF that you cannot do with a mutual fund. So it trades much just like a stock. But ETFs are very good tool. And their claim to fame is they're less expensive to own.
Less expensive.
But that's not the whole story. Because even though your ETF costs nearly nothing to own, where all the company, all the advisors get paid, it's like Vanguard mutual funds. That's a lot of clients who put money in Vanguard mutual funds because say, well, I have no sales charge. Well, you're right. But if you use an advisor, you're paying a fee for it. And if you don't use an advisor, you're buying your investment directly from Vanguard. Vanguard can't give you any advice.
Okay.
They're not even licensed yet.
Lowell Jackson, you should call them 1-800-NOEL.
Everyone thinks they're a genius investing in the market when everything's going down. Everyone thinks they know what they're doing.
Okay.
it becomes very apparent they don't know what they're doing when things start going down. People who are not advisors make emotional decisions. They don't make rational decisions because they're more likely to make a mistake. And I was telling people a year ago, NVIDIA was a better investment than Apple, for example.
They're invested in NVIDIA, and they're all, woo! But if China pulls the trigger and goes for Taiwan, supposedly that NVIDIA stock is going to go crash.
You mean Taiwan Semiconductor?
Yeah.
Well, Taiwan Semiconductor makes all the little small pieces that go in the NVIDIA, or nearly all of them. If you look at your mutual fund, you own Taiwan Semiconductor in some of your mutual funds. Okay, they are the largest manufacturer of semiconductors in the world. So what he's saying would be a thing if there's a war, because China had threatened to start a war with Taiwan for years. If they started a war with Taiwan, then production of the semiconductors would stop.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Which means
Crash.
the whole industry that makes all this stuff would stop. Which means their stocks would go in the toilet. I've been telling people you need to be buying Boeing. And no one thinks I'm right. I've been telling people about Boeing now, and they just came up with a new CEO yesterday. And he's an engineer. He's not a marketer or a CPA or nothing like. He's an engineer.
Okay.
He's moving all the engineering back to Seattle. He's moving all from Chicago, from Virginia, everything back to Seattle. Where
There are some bad engineers, I'm just saying.
and anytime you have, and that's what happened to Pacific Group. Whenever you have, if you have an attorney or a CPA running a corporation, it's only a limited amount of time that it goes away.
The bean counters.
Okay.
Because they don't know how to run a business. They think they do.
They think they do, but they
But
don't.
they do not. Because they know how to count numbers, they know how to put numbers in boxes, but it's not numbers in boxes that make a decision what to do that's good or wrong. A lot of times it's gut feeling as to what you should do in business. I would suspect you can make more money for Boeing than you can from NVIDIA right now.
Really?
There's only two companies in the world that make commercial airlines.
Yes.
There's only two, Airbus in England
And both.
and Boeing. Okay, and Boeing's been around forever, and they've made some huge mistakes. It's made this once prominent company down to the toilet. Okay, but that's when you buy.
Yeah.
Several years ago, I was telling people, do you remember when Dell computers were catching fire?
Yeah.
With the battery? I was telling people then, you need to be buying Dell.
Yeah.
Okay, because it tanked.
Yeah.
And then it turned around and went back up. And then they took it, and now I don't think it wasn't public anymore for a while, but I think it's public again. But that's, so you buy something when it's not attractive, and you buy it and hold on to it for a couple of years, when no one thinks it's worth having.
Okay.
Because one day they'll figure out what the problem is, and they'll fix it, and all of a sudden that stock will go back up again. Let's talk about this AI thing. The whole world is AI. But I think I mentioned this last week. We talked about this last week. Very similar to what happened in the early 2000s, 2, 3 is what's happening now with AI. So you're going to see, I think there's over exuberance. Too much, what was that term? Some euphoria. No. The Fed chair said, exuberance. Anyway, people are too excited about it.
About the
They're
AI.
AI, because a lot of people haven't figured out how to even use it. Okay, they haven't had to figure out what that practical application is for. They haven't yet figured out what they're going to do to generate enough power to be able to use it as well. It takes up huge amounts of electrical power.
Wow.
So if you're going to have a data center, build a data center like they're doing in Taylor, Texas, which I used to drive through all the time to see my grandma. When we lived in Weatherford, Texas, we'd drive down to Bastrop, Texas. We'd go right through Taylor.
Go through Taylor to get the
Taylor was this little town that had nothing in it. It was about the size of Zebulon.
Wow, that's small.
Little bitty nothing town. We'd drive through it. You want to see you see a liquor store and a chicken shack, yeah, whatever, there was nothing to it.
Nothing there, wow.
Now they're building a data center there,
In that small
in
little?
that little town. And, so to power a data center, it uses so much power, you have to put a small nuclear plant next door to it.
Because it used that much power,
Yeah.
wow.
We're
That's a
gonna
lot.
need, we're gonna need 4 times the power that we have today to generate enough power to run AI. So what I'm telling my clients is, the play is not buying NVIDIA. It's like one of my clients owns Eaton stock. Well, I looked at Eaton, I didn't know much about Eaton stock.
Okay.
So I looked at it, his stock is up a huge percentage, and he didn't know what. It turns out they build power plants.
Eating stocks that
Yeah.
build power plants.
So that'd be a great company to own. Southern Company would be a good company to own. Freeport McMoran. Yeah, Freeport McMoran, they are miners for gold, silver, and copper.
Okay.
And they're one of the biggest copper producers in the country. So if you're gonna build a big old electrical facility, what are you gonna need a lot of? Piles and piles of copper. Because every wire has copper in it,
Yeah.
right? So there's gonna be this demand and for other things that happen before the actual performance of AI. You have to produce the stuff to where you can actually use AI, right?
Okay.
So that's how you know what to do next. Those huge amounts of power is going to be, and it's to put a tremendous strain on our grid, and windmills and
Solar panels.
solar panels ain't getting it.
Not gonna need.
Not even close.
Wow.
Well, that's the bad thing. The crazy thing is Texas, California, they're all having these rolling blackouts all the time.
Because they got mandated.
They got too much stuff going on, and they got pullbacks to not use as much of your coal burning crap and all that other stuff.
It's going to take a while, and it's going to take 5 to 8 years for this to even be built out. So this is not something that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple of years.
It's going to take several years. Okay, let's work with an HP-12C calculator. Let's talk about all the different pieces and why we do it. And this is one of a few often that actually uses the HP-12. Okay. Anytime you see an N, that's
Okay.
time.
Time, okay.
Time. Okay, normally like years.
Okay.
Number.
Okay.
Years.
Okay.
I is interest.
Interest, okay.
P is present value.
Present value, okay.
Right. P.
Right there, present value,
PV, present value.
okay.
That's what, PV, present value.
PMT payment.
PMT payment.
Okay.
Payment. FB, future value.
Future value, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 little buttons right here
Okay,
are what you can use 90% of the time.
90% of the time, okay.
Okay, you're going to use them all 100% of the time. There's
Okay.
going to be a number plugged in, and sometimes the number's going to be 0 just to hold this place.
Okay.
So, and then, not to make it any harder, okay, see this blue G right here?
Yeah, blue G.
Okay, you're going to use that whenever we're going to compound something monthly.
Monthly, okay, compound monthly, okay.
Okay, let's say I want to have a client wants to invest $50 a month.
Okay.
So I'm going to put $50
Okay.
payment,
okay.
because that's what he's putting in.
Okay,
Okay, put $50 a month in, and he's going to do that every month for 20 years. So 20 blue GN changes it to 240 months.
okay, right.
And he's going to invest it at a 12% return. 112 blue GI.
Interest.
Okay, there's no money initially he's going to put with it other than the monthly $50 a month, 0 PV, FE.
Future value, okay.
So if you took $50 a month and you put it in a mutual fund that averages a 12% return for 20 years, you'd have $49,462.77.
Okay,
But you need to actively listen to the problem and not worry about writing it down. If I have a client that said, hey, Eric, I have $100 a month I want to put in for 30 years at 12%, how much money would I have? I'm automatically
keying it in.
I'm not writing it down, I'm putting it, and I show it.
Okay,
Why do we do this? Well, human beings don't believe other human beings. But they do believe a machine, no matter whether the machine gave out the right number or not, they believe.
They believe that because you use the
Yeah.
machine in your hand versus
So
you tell
they
them.
believe the machine over the human, anytime. And clear is CLX. And CHS right here,
Uh-huh.
right here, CHS is changed sign. If you notice, the answer he gave me was a minus, had a minus sign next to it.
Okay, change the
Okay,
sign.
because
Okay.
theoretically, if I put $50 a month in a mutual fund, it's leaving my pocket going to a mutual fund. It should actually be a negative number.
Okay.
But I don't do it. I just put, and then
So you
you
don't
can put
have-
CHS and change sign, that gives you the same answer. So let's say, Michelle, she's 41, okay? And she says, hey, Eric, I want to retire when I'm 65.
Okay.
And I want to live today like I live on $4,000 today. I want to live like $4,000 today when I'm 65.
Okay, nothing changing. Okay.
So we go for 4,000
Okay. 4,000
present value.
value.
We have a 3% inflation rate. 3I. She's 41. She'll be 65. How many years is that? Say 24.
Okay, 24. Okay.
24.
Okay, she's adding to it. Okay.
And
Amateur,
0 PMT.
zero payment,
FP.
future value.
Okay, so to live like $4,000 today at a 3% inflation rate, it's going to take $8,131.18 a month to live like $4,000 is today.
Okay.
Now she's going to we're going to multiply this number to 240.
Okay.
240. So 240 times. That means she needs to have
Million.
$1,951,482.34 at age 65 to live like 4,000 is today.
Like, oh, wow.
So where did I get 240? Well, divide by 0.05.
There you go.
240. Here's what I do with every client.
Okay.
But if she had her $1,951,000,
Right.
between now and the time you retire, I'm going to try to make it between 8 and 10% a year.
Okay.
I like a third grade teacher.
Okay. Between 8 and 10.
8 to 10.
Okay.
If I'm making it 8 to 10, I can take out 5. 5 divided by 12, because we're going to take out the money monthly, is 240.
Okay.
That will give you how much money we need to have in our account to be able to retire and to try about 5% a year. Why are we driving out 5% a year? Now we're averaging 8 to 10,
You're right, but you focus.
But what if we have a year like we did in 2008 where we did minus 40?
Whoa,
Or 2018 where we did minus 22? Or whatever. So you have to have, you take out less than normal, because then if I'm taking out 5, but it's making 8 to 10, I'm still making 3 to 5.
but
But what if she didn't account for that inflation? And she didn't count that she'd need to make 3 to 5% more. When she was 65 and still living on $4,000 a month, she'd be living like it's $2,000.
yes, because it wouldn't be go as
It
far
had to
that.
keep up,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So your money has to keep up with inflation.
Oh.
So you have to make more on your money than you're actually taking out.
Okay.
That's why most people retire broke. Because they draw a pension, for example, or they draw a Social Security. And both of these things don't keep up with inflation.
No, I know the people
Okay.
on Social Security don't.
And then
No.
what happens is when they retire initially, they feel like they're doing pretty good. Right? They're doing all right.
At that time.
But 20 years into retirement, they could barely buy groceries
That's
because their money's not keeping up.
with inflation. Okay.
Okay, and so you have to make, that's why I always tell my clients, people that make CDs in the bank and low interest places like that, they have zero chance of being able to retire comfortably.
Wow.
They have no chance.
No
Okay,
chance.
they think they're being safe by putting it in the bank. They have no chance. Because if they're only making 3 or 4%, okay, and let's say you make 4% of your money, 3 of it's going to, 1 of it goes to taxes,
Okay.
a fourth of it, 25% goes to taxes, and 3% of it is inflation. So if you're making 4 and you're losing 4, how much money did you make?
Nothing.
0.
Yeah, you didn't make it.
Even though your statement said you made 4%, but after taxes and inflation, you made 0.
Oh, no.
Okay, so what did you make two? Well, two, you're losing money. Because inflation's still three from two, you lost one.
One, you still.
And then you still had to pay 0.5% of taxes.
Yeah, so you still did.
So you're losing one, yeah, so you're losing money. You have to make 8 to make 3.
Okay. Make 8 to make 3.
And most people aren't making 8. Most people want to retire in their 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Do their traveling and all the changes up until their late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
When they get to their late 70s, early 80s, and they're still in good health, they stay home more. So they don't spend near as much money. So that is her financial needs. That is financial independence number. That is the number she's trying to hit.
Okay.
And I always tell my clients, you can't hit a target unless you can see the target.
Target, okay.
Right? And you may not like the target, okay, but that's the target,
Okay.
okay?
I just read an article that, a financial article, a majority of the people that are 50 years old have $240,000 in their 401k.
Really?
It's an average.
We're gonna take this number, we're gonna put that as our future value.
Future value.
That's what we're trying to get to, right? And she might say, well, Eric, if I average a 12% return on my mutual funds, Blue G 12, Blue G1 is the 12% a year.
Blue G1.
And then she's gonna have 24 years, 24. Blue GN is how many months she has.
Blue GN, okay.
Okay, 288.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then 0 PV. She has 0 money to invest today.
Okay.
PMT.
Okay.
She needs to invest $1,178.37 a month to hit that number
In 24 years.
in 24 years.
4 years, okay.
Why is this important? Let's say it's very obvious, or the client knows they don't have $1,200 a month they can invest.
Right.
Okay. But prior to this conversation, this client thought they were going to invest $50 a month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the least I can do?
Right? And then now they know, and let's say that's still the number they only can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They know that's not a good number.
Okay.
Okay. There's a lot of people in Primerica and a lot of other people in the financial industry, Edward Jones and all these other companies. If you came in their office and they said, hey, I have $100 a month I want to invest in my mutual fund, they'd let you do that and make you feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get anywhere close to what you need to have. So it also helps the client up their number. Now they're thinking how I can increase this number to make it bigger so I can hit that number.
Okay.
So I don't have to talk them into it. A lot of people will work, and of course their working history will work about 3 or 4 different places. You know what most people do with their old 401ks?
They leave
They
them?
leave it where it was.
Wow.
And so they'll work here for 5, 6, 7 years, go here, and then when you start talking to them, they say, you know, I had an old 401k at XYZ company when I worked. It's still sitting there.
Okay.
I'll say, well, how much is that? I don't know. I said, go find a statement.
Wow.
And then, and you know, this happened. Or my grandmother left me $10,000 sitting in a whatever. And so you try to find as much of this money as you can to
Find
get together
Okay.
to get invested correctly.
Oh, okay.
That's how you find money.
Tom Hopkins.
Yeah.
Everything you tell a person, when you tell somebody something, you're pushing them away. If you ask them and get them to say it,
They get closer.
Oh, okay.
So you got to learn how to be.
the less you tell,
The less, okay.
You do have to learn how to ask the question to get the answer you want.
exactly.
The point is, though, is that on this calculator, it really helps you because I always tell people, everybody has written on their forehead when you talk to them, what's in it for me? Okay? And when you can do this calculation, they know exactly what's in it for them.
Okay.
And they know that you're doing this math problem for them,
Okay.
right?
Right.
It's not for you.
No, say what
I'm
you
not
know.
trying to talk them into investing $648 a month. They know they need to invest $648.
Okay.
You show them how they can do better. And most people will say, wow, you mean I could have $174,000 instead of $32,000? They'll eventually do it.
Oh, I'm sure,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Most people will do.